His Excellency Mr. Junaid Ahmed Palak, Honorable Minister of State for Post, Telecom and Information Technology, Bangladesh. Honorable Minister of State for Electronics and IT and Tourism, Government of India. He joined IAS in 1979. He pioneered the literacy movement in India by making Kottayam district the first 100% literate town in India. We have also respected Mrs. Ursula Ikupul, Honorable Minister of Communication, Ghana. She also has oversight responsibility for Ghana cyber security. Respected Mr. Holland Zhao, Secretary General ITU. He is elected as 19th Secretary General of ITU, the United Nations Specialized Agency for Information and Communication Technology. We have amongst us Mr. Junaid Ahmed Palak, respected Speaker, Honorable Minister of State for Post, Telecom and Information Technology, Bangladesh. He was nominated as Young Global Leader in 2016 by the World Economic Forum. And today we have the theme, the subject for this plenary session, Cyber4Digital Inclusion, Bridging the Digital Divide, Empowering by Technology-Led Inclusiveness. So, first of all, I would request Honorable Minister, Mr. KJ Alphonse, to kindly address us.
Honorable Minister of Communications, Government of Ghana, Ms. Ursula Owusu Okufu, His Excellency, the Minister of State Minister for Information and Communication Technology, Bangladesh, Mr. Junaid Ahmed Palak, distinguished Secretary General of the International Telecommunication Union, Howlin Sao, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to be a host of this cyberspace summit here in Delhi as Minister of State for IT and Electronics, and also as the Minister for Tourism. So welcome to India. I hope you have a good time and to continue to have a great time in India. Well, the Honorable Prime Minister in the morning spoke about why he wants a digital revolution in India. In fact, today, India is witnessing the biggest digital revolution in the history of the world, past 3 years. Why said the Honorable Prime Minister, his entire focus really today is to create a digital India? The answer is very simple: to give a voice to the voiceless, to empower people who have never been empowered, who are deprived in the history of India. So this is a single objective. He wants them to be part of India, to feel, to be part of India. And say, yes, we are citizens who have a right to equal wealth of this country. We have a right to jobs. We have a right to the marketplace. And we have a right, ultimately, to a dignified life. I mean, this is a key word, to a dignified life. Ladies and gentlemen, I do not want to repeat whatever has been said from morning, whatever has been done to bridge the digital divide, because this has been the topic of the Honorable Prime Minister's speech. After that, we had a very eloquent presentation speech by my senior minister, Honorable Minister for Telecom of IT, Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad. After that, you had just now a presentation from my secretary in the IT department, Ajay Sani, and a distinguished panel. And of course, we have a very distinguished panel here going to talk about bridging the digital divide. I do not want to go into those issues and the numbers. I think India has done an amazing job. For the first time, it's given an identity to an Indian. And today, 99% of Indians have an identity, a unique identity. I mean, this is the biggest revolution in the history of the world, a biometric-driven identity. 1.2 billion people today, which is about 99% of people above the age of 18, have the Aadhaar card, which gives them, yes, the belief, yes, I am also participating in the development of India. I'm also partaking in whatever benefits development is going to bring about. The Honorable Prime Minister believes that we have to grow, absolutely essential. We can't just distribute the wealth which is there and take care of everybody. Yes, we need to grow. But there is a bigger fundamental belief that the fruits of development must reach out to every citizen, to the last man out there. Now, this digital platform, ladies and gentlemen, India has created the mechanism to deliver that, the fruits of growth to people. Today, Aadhaar is driving the country. Before I go into technicalities and a few things which this government has done in terms of bringing a power to the last man out there, let me tell you a little bit about my experience, autobiographical. I became a minister just recently, just 2 months back. Before that, for 28 years, I was a civil servant, a bureaucrat in Kerala and partly in Delhi. I quit and I became a member of parliament in Kerala, in the state parliament, called the Legislative Assembly. And then I moved in here. Let me tell you one small incident which changed my life towards people, towards the citizen. This is when I was district collector of Kottayam in Kerala. Some of you may not know what is a district collector. A district collector is something like a governor of a district. He's the boss of the district, looking after everything from law and order to development to ration cards to land matters to everything else he looks after. So I was a district collector of Kottayam from 1988 to 1991. One day, an 80-year-old lady, she walks into my house and she howls at me. She says, "Where were you? This is the third trip I'm making. You know, I can't get into a bus myself. I had to change the bus thrice on the way. I can't travel alone, so I have to ask help from my neighborhood girl. I came here twice. You weren't here. Where were you?" Imagine a citizen questioning the district collector. Now the punchline. She says, "Government is giving you a car. Why can't you come and see me in my village?" Absolute punchline like in a movie. I don't know what a lot of other bureaucrats around the world would have done. I smiled. In the evening, I told my wife that this semi-literate lady, 80-year-old who can't really walk, took a bus, changed bus 3 times, and came and met me, and she asked me a question: "Why can't you come and see me in my village?" Ladies and gentlemen, this question changed my life. I devised a mechanism of delivery system in my district, Kottayam, wherein I was taking the entire 1,000 people, officers of my district, starting with my superintendent of police, to everybody, every department, maybe 2,000 people, right down to the villages, and meeting this old lady, let me give her a name, Saraswati. We didn't just go like that. 2 months of preparation. We said, we will select these 2 panchayats, and the district collector and officials are going there on such and such a date, which is 2 months from now. File petitions regarding any issue which you have in the panchayats. We used to get 5,000 petitions on the average. After 15 days, I take it to the collectorate, I read it, and then I send it to my district officers with a covering letter saying, Dear SP, Superintendent of Police, here are 500 petitions about your department. Please inquire into this. I'm giving you 15 days and come to this particular school on such and such a date, such and such a time. And the rule is very simple. Whatever is asked must be given. If it's a ration card that the person has asked for, you can't say, come and collect the ration card tomorrow from the Taluk Supply Office. No, the ration card must be delivered there. If it's land title, the land title must be delivered there. Ladies and gentlemen, in one day we dispose of 5,000 petitions, eternal problems of the poorest of the poor who had no voice at all, they were solved. Ladies and gentlemen, this changed my life, and I said, this is exactly what the government is for. This is exactly what the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi, has announced. My government exists for the people. This government exists to deliver at the least cost to the last person out there, to the last man and woman out there, government services without they having to pay any money. India, so sorry to say, was one of the most corrupt countries in the ranking as per Transparency International's report. Within a year of coming to power, ladies and gentlemen, this Honorable Prime Minister of India has been able to wipe out corruption completely from Delhi. Completely from Delhi. There's not even allegation against us, any minister in the cabinet. Why? Because the Honorable Prime Minister says the money spent by the government must reach the last person out there. Now, this entire digital services is designed to reach these benefits to the poor. He said, every poor person in this country will have a bank account. I don't know which country in the world can boast and say, yes, every citizen of my country has a bank account. Today, 300 million accounts were opened for the poorest people in India on the directions of the Prime Minister. And a lot of people were critical. They said, sorry, this is a fake account. No money will come into this account. You know how much money has been transferred from the government directly to these poor people? $40 billion. Sorry, I'm getting my numbers wrong. $40 billion have been transferred to the accounts of these 300 million people during the past 1.5 years. You know how much money the government has saved? There were a lot of middlemen taking away people's money. And that money, all these fake accounts have been now abolished, cancelled. The government have saved 57,000 crores, which is about $10 billion of people's money have been saved by a direct transfer of money to the poor people's account. Aadhaar, the greatest, the biggest biometric identification program in the history of the world. Today, 1.18 billion people in this country, ladies and gentlemen, has an identification card. Now, what is this card about? A lot of people would have said right in the beginning, what is this card going to do to you? Today, ladies and gentlemen, this identity card has been linked to the food, provision for food. What do you call the public distribution system, which reaches food to the poorest of the people? Now, the Aadhaar has been linked, and today, all the fake cards have been eliminated. Today, the rightful people able to get food from the government today, they are getting the food directly right in their villages. Revolution. Ladies and gentlemen, cooking gas. About 300 million people in India don't have a proper home. They live in huts across the country, in the villages. How do they cook? They use firewood in their little huts. They use firewood and they get entrapped in this smoke. And what happens? A lot of them are affected by cancer. The Honorable Prime Minister said, sorry, the dignity of the woman of the house, of the lady of the house is most important for India. Her health is most important. We shall provide free cooking gas to every poor family in this country. Ladies and gentlemen, 40 million cooking gas given to the poor people in this country based on this identity, unique identity. I can go on and on. The kind of things which is happening across the country. The unique payment system, Aadhaar, which enables, you don't have to go to a bank. Sitting at home or your workplace, you just press a button on your mobile phone and here money is transferred. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't think it happens anywhere else in the world. I know abroad you use a credit card, the debit card, you use your net banking. Today, we have the largest phone-based payment system which is available to the last person out there. Well, you might say there is a problem because these things can be done only on a smartphone. And India, out of the 1.2 billion mobile phones we have, only about 400 are smartphones. No, we have device technology, USSD. You don't need a smartphone to make payment at all. You don't need to download the application. We have device a program under which from feature phones, you can transfer money on the USSD platform. It's available. You don't need anything at all. In fact, you don't need a smartphone. You don't need a feature phone. All that you need is go to one of our centers. You need nothing else. You just put your fingerprint out there. The machine captures your fingerprint and straight away, the money is given to you. The money is paid to whomever you want to. Ladies and gentlemen, these are revolutions. The biggest revolutions in the history of the world to enable the poorest of the poor. Doesn't stop at that. Scholarships. It was such a difficult task for a student in a village, in a far-flung area to get scholarships which are given free by the government. Today we have an application. It's on the digital system. You can apply from your mobile phone. It's so simple. Millions of children, students across the country today have access to a government scholarship without having to go to a government office. It's available on your mobile phone straight away. Ladies and gentlemen, today what the Prime Minister has announced, Umang, all the government services being made available on a single application. It's amazing. Eventually, we'll have about 1,200 government services being provided with this single application, Umang. Ladies and gentlemen, this country is truly going to be one. Well, all this is absolutely amazing. I think this digital revolution is going to create millions of jobs in this country. Ultimately, these are the things which matter to the Honorable Prime Minister, to this government. Ultimately, it's going to make life easier. And the Honorable Prime Minister said in the morning, the index of ease of living, is it going to get better for the citizen out there? Yes, the answer is very definitely yes. It's going to make it better. It's going to improve the earning capacity of the person out there. The tribal woman, the tribal artisan out there in the remote hills of India who make their products, beautiful garments and these beautiful artifacts. Today, he's able to put it on the net and he's able to sell it across the world. He doesn't need to travel outside the village. Ladies and gentlemen, this is real empowerment out there. Lot more. Some people would say, morning, it was debated in the last session, the entire issue of privacy. There are people who are apprehensive in some parts of the country who are apprehensive about the privacy of Aadhaar data getting leaked, getting breached. We are very happy to say in our ministry, there has not been one breach of Aadhaar data so far at all. Not one breach of Aadhaar data. We are very proud to say. India is very, very happy to announce. But again, I have a little complaint about people who make this complaint, who complain that my privacy is going to be taken away. A few months back, I was applying for a visa to visit a country. You know how many pages of information I filled in? I still have the copy with me. I filled in 10 pages of data to be given to a foreign government to get a visa to travel to that country, starting with where was my grandfather born? Where was my grandmother born? Where did they go on a honeymoon? Sorry, people in Kerala, 100 years back don't go on a honeymoon. Where was my father born? Where did he study? Where did he work? What about my mother? Ladies and gentlemen, 10 pages of loaded personal information to be given to a foreign government just to get a visa. And what am I asking for in my Aadhaar records? Your name, number one. Number two, your address. And that's it. No mobile phone to be given. Your mobile details need not be given. Your email address need not be given. Ladies and gentlemen, what are you parting with to the country in which you are a citizen? You are just saying, this is my name, this is my address. Where is the question of the whole breach of privacy at all? I mean, I don't understand people making this kind of a noises. So today, we have a structure in this country which empowers people out there. But again, ladies and gentlemen, I have a problem from Saraswati. That 80-year-old lady who came to see me. Are we going to sell our heart and soul to the digital world? Can we stop being compassionate? Can we do it with compassion? Because today we don't need to meet people anymore. Like yesterday, you must have seen me on television the whole evening. Whoever is from India. I got out at Imphal airport. When I was getting out of the airport, I saw this lady weeping, and I walked up to her and said, "Madam, can I help? Is there a problem?" And she was absolutely angry with the system because her flight was not allowed to take off. I said, "Madam, I've just came in this flight, and of course you'll have to wait till the Honorable President's flight lands, and then you will be allowed to take off immediately." She howled at me. It was all over the television, and the breaking news was KJ Alphonse lands in Manipur, in Imphal airport, late for a flight, and therefore this lady's flight was delayed. My God, look at this digital world, fake news being peddled as the truth. Breaking news for maybe an hour or something. Then, of course, I was on television saying, "Ladies and gentlemen, sorry, I was not flying out of Imphal. I did not come into Imphal. I was flying from Delhi to Imphal along with 3 other ministers. And then when I was walking out of the airport, I saw this lady. And then, of course, I tried to console her as a human being." My question today is, my wife told me this morning, "My dear husband, please stop being sympathetic and compassionate because you got into a deep, huge trouble yesterday, almost." I said, "Sorry, my dear lady, I can't stop being compassionate." My plea to the world, ladies and gentlemen, is very simple. I think India is doing an amazing job in the digital world. It's empowering people. Please do not give up your heart and soul and say, "Sorry, I am a machine and my mobile phone is my heart and my soul." Sorry, that will not drive the world. Please, from here, let's go out with a resolution, my dear ladies and gentlemen. All this digital technology is fantastic. It's empowering people in India. Let's go out with another resolution saying, yes, we want a more compassionate world. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister, Mr. KJ Alphonse. Now, may I request Ms. Ursula Ikuful, Minister of Communications, Ghana, to kindly address us. Honorable Ms. Ursula Ikuful.
The Honorable Minister of State, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Mr. Alphonse Kunanpanam. The Honorable Minister of State, Ministry of Information and Communications Technology of Bangladesh, Mr. Zunaid Ahmed Palak. Your Excellency, Mr. Hu Lin Zhao, Secretary General of the ITU, distinguished ministers of state present, ladies and gentlemen. I'm extremely delighted to be given this opportunity to contribute to this conversation on digital for inclusion and bridging the digital divide, empowering by technology and inclusiveness. This is a very apt topic and timely because just 2 weeks ago, we were having a similar conversation at the ICT for Africa Forum in Cape Town. We all know the enabling effects of ICT and its empowering effects as well. I say that the Ministry of Communications is the most important ministry in any country because we make it possible for everyone else to work more effectively and efficiently. And we assist in growing the economies of our country. As far back as 2003, our heads of states and governments made a solemn declaration at the World Summit on the Information Society that our common desire and commitment to build a people-centered, inclusive and development-oriented information society where everyone can create, access, utilize and share information and knowledge, enabling individuals, communities and peoples to achieve their full potential in promoting their sustainable development and improving their quality of life, is premised on the purposes and principles of the Charter of the UN and respecting fully and upholding the UN Declaration of Human Rights. All we're doing is to give effect to that, because the General Assembly has also adopted a set of goals to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure prosperity for all as part of a new sustainable development agenda to be achieved over the next 25 years. We salute the strides that India has made in its digitalization efforts, and we're closely monitoring what is going on here. The government of the New Patriotic Party took office 11 months ago in Ghana. And since then, we've worked very hard to create a digital ecosystem to transform not just the economy of our country, but the life of our country. Ghana has one of the most liberalized telecommunications markets in Africa, with strong competition in the mobile market. We have 6 operators for a population of about 28 million, 5 now with the merger of Airtel and Tigo. And we have a highly competitive internet market as well. We have over 50 licensed internet service providers. Telephone subscription had risen to over 130% by July this year. We have a relatively robust fiber infrastructure, which includes 5 submarine landing cables, terrestrial fiber, and LTE sites. We aim to digitize our country, not just for the urban elite, but for every citizen of our country. And so, in addition to all the urban infrastructure that we have built community information centers across the length and breadth of the country, where people can go to access internet connectivity. We're going to build more. We also want to give life to our post offices and are transforming them into e-service centers where everyone can go to access internet services, even if they don't have connectivity themselves. Within 9 months of taking office, the government has launched, just like Aadhaar, a state-of-the-art biometric national ID card enhanced with new technologies, including tactile elements for the blind, e-passport, and payment applications. We have been trying to have a national ID for over 12 years. and for some reason have been unable to do that. But within 9 months, we have set in place the architecture, the infrastructure, the human resources to be able to do that. And so from next year, January, the rollout will begin. The legal regime the law has been amended to ensure that every Ghanaian born in 2008 will be registered at birth instead of from age 6, as was originally the situation. We have also launched a digital property addressing system. It might seem normal to many of you listening to us, but in our part of the world, even finding directions to somebody's home or workplace was a challenge because we didn't have a property address system. And so we had to go by jump over the gutter, turn left, turn right at the blue kiosk and look for the mango tree. So if the mango tree has been cut down and the blue kiosk has moved, then you're stuck and you don't know where to find where you're going. But we've launched a digital property address system as part of our ecosystem to transform the lives of our people. And I am happy to announce that it has been one of the most downloaded applications since its launch a little over a month ago. In addition to that, we're linking all our payment systems into one seamless whole because we insist that come next year, payment for all government goods and services should be done electronically. And for very good reason. We know that that will reduce corruption and ensure that payments made are received by the intended recipients and to cut out the middleman. As the Honorable Minister just indicated, the results in India are evident already. And so we're also implementing a similar system in Ghana. We know that if we can do this, we will transform the very lives of our people, reduce corruption, increase revenues to government, and make it possible that the development that we all want will actually be realized. We're introducing a paperless port, which within 2 months of its operation has increased the revenues year on year that are generated at the port because it's cut out the middleman. We're setting up a robust e-governance architecture, which includes an e-immigration system, e-procurement, e-parliament, e-justice, e-cabinet, a safe city solution, and smart workplaces, among other initiatives, which are all at various stages of implementation. There's also a program to support the vibrant local startup ecosystem. And we've set up incubator hubs with the Accra Digital Center, which is providing shared workspaces, a plug and play grade A commercial office space for ICT businesses and business process outsourcing. We're also developing ICT parks, and I'm hoping we can deepen cooperation amongst ourselves through this visit here, South-South cooperation with India, so that we can learn from you and also scale up our efforts in this regard. But the sober reality is that all this infrastructure will not benefit 20% of our population who currently do not have access to data or telephone connectivity. We cannot leave anyone behind. And so we are determined to bridge this divide and ensure that the over 1,000 communities who currently are rural, unserved, and underserved, constituting about 5.4 million of our people, would also have access to this architecture that we're building to improve upon their agriculture, education, mining, tourism, health, and even peasant trading. The local trade, petty traders that we have will also benefit from improved infrastructure. And so we are addressing this through a program we have dubbed the Rural Telephony Project, and intend to connect the entire country within the next 3 years. It will extend mobile telephone services to all areas where access isn't currently available and where existing licensed operators are unwilling or unable to extend their services to for commercial or other constraints. We are actively promoting infrastructure sharing to reduce the capital outlay to enable our mobile network operators invest more in connectivity than in fiber. And so we're working to develop infrastructure companies that can provide the infrastructure for all the companies to co-locate on or to lease capacity on to extend their services to the entire country. We have a universal access service provider, dubbed our Ghana Investment Fund for Electronic Communications, GIFIC. It works in close collaboration with telecoms operators, private sector partners, and equipment providers. And we are determined to do the entire connectivity of our country on a low-cost, high-efficiency solution to address the peculiar challenges faced in extending connectivity to remote locations. We're looking forward to even greater partnerships with everyone else who is interested in assisting us to achieve this goal that we are determined to have. There are growth and profits in this sector. And Ghana is not looking for aid. We're looking at a Ghana beyond aid. We're looking for profitable partnerships between the government, private investors, technology providers, equipment vendors, to ensure that we will create even more appetite for telecommunications products for all our people. Last year, one of our network operators worked with our universal access provider, GIFIC, to extend connectivity to 50 communities. They thought they were rural areas, and so they didn't provision enough capacity in anticipation of the demand. They realized very quickly that within 1 month of powering up their systems, that the capacity was used up. And that taught us all a very useful lesson that when we provide service to these communities, they will use it up, and the companies will profit from the usage that they experience in their networks and the uptake of their networks. And so all the other operators are also lining up to provide similar services. We're implementing a school connectivity project as well to equip selected deprived schools with computers and accessories and internet connectivity. We aim to scale up e-education through that. And we also have a satellite hub that we're using for this. During the first term of this current government, we were trying to implement a 1 laptop per child policy, but we weren't quite successful in doing that. This was about 10 years ago. 10 years on, we're revisiting this project and are determined to give every school child a device on which the curriculum will be loaded to provide an equal playing field, a level playing field for all our children, so that whether it is in the rural communities or in the urban areas, they would have the same opportunities. We are holding a Tech in Ghana conference, which has ended today, and that's part of the reason why I came in a little late, because we had to work on that yesterday. So I literally just arrived and walked straight in here from the airport. But there are lots of wonderful young people showcasing innovations during that conference. And we want to promote that. And the government will use its purchasing power to assist them grow their businesses in this area. We will give meaning to the free senior high school concept that we're currently introducing this year, and make sure that our children can compete. And so we will also teach coding at a very young age to all our school children to enable them to also move in the 21st century with their peers around the world. We are currently implementing a Digital for Inclusion project with a Danish company, and we're piloting it in 4 communities. And it is providing free Wi-Fi access to different kinds of communities, including very remote cocoa growing areas and peri-urban areas as well, to see which technology would work best. The GSMA undertook a research which also revealed that 67% of women in Ghana, even though they may have mobile devices, do not use the internet capabilities of their mobile devices, which I thought was a shame. 67% of women in Ghana do not use the internet. We cannot allow that sorry statistic to continue. And so we have a Girls in ICT program to encourage girls to also explore the possibilities that the world of the internet and ICT opens up to them. Through this Digital for Inclusion project, we're training women, peasant farmers, petty traders around the country to use IT-enabled services to improve their businesses. We're scaling up e-commerce as well. And so, hopefully, by this time next year, we'll be well on our way to connecting the entire country. The benefits are obvious. We will empower our women. We will give our young people a voice. We would ensure that the majority of the population living in the countryside has access to affordable internet. And we will link and connect our country. We seek partnerships with all our friends around the world, including our Indian brothers and sisters. As we connect our countries, we should think about linking up our various communities which in our part of the world, in the West African sub-region, we're developing in silos. And so we built our fiber network to our borders and are connecting it to our neighboring countries. We just returned from the ECOWAS Ministers of Communications meeting where we decided that we would use the West Africa Power Pool project and use fiber over the power lines to connect our various peoples. We're working actively to promote digital inclusion. It doesn't come cheap, and we don't have the resources, all of the resources, to develop that within the time frames that we worked out for ourselves. And that is why we seek private and public partnerships in this area. And we know that since these are initiatives which can pay for themselves at the end of the day, self-interest, the profit motive should motivate private companies and individuals who have funds to invest to partner with us to build the digital Ghana that we seek. Our Vice President, who is championing this initiative, has just christened all the various things that we're doing in a catchphrase that we are using around the country. It is Digitime in Ghana. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam. May I now request respected Mr. Haolin Zhao, Secretary General ITU, to kindly address the august gathering. Respected Mr. Haolin Zhao.
Excellency, State Minister of Electronics and IT of India, Excellency, Minister of Communications of Ghana, Excellency, Minister of IT of Bangladesh, my dear friend, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It's a great pleasure to join you at this session. I have my speech, but I'd like to start with something from my comments to my fellow speakers on the podium. I think that Sri Alphonse, State Minister of India, mentioned his experiences last night. In fact, last night I saw him on the screen when I met with Honorable Minister of Communications. But he was not in this custom, he's in normal custom of traditional custom. So I asked my ministers of communication, who is this guy? Because I never met him before. They said he's the Minister of IT. I said, no. Minister of IT, I know, is Prasad. I know him. No, he's a junior Minister of IT. So I thought that he was, during his campaign of elections, that talking to his people about the election. And then the lady seemed to be very emotional. But we don't know what he talked. And this morning I met him. I asked him what happened last night. Seemed to be that he became a television star. And he told me that this is a story. And this afternoon, and he gave us a story again. And he added something new I did not hear from him this morning. That his wife advised him not to do that anymore because it's somehow a little bit painful and dangerous. But he told us he will not stop. When he has such kind of a situation, he will go again, try to calm people. I think we need leaders like him, to work on this issue. Of course, this is not his business. It's not his fault to have a plane delay and then the people are angry, upset, and he tried to calm people, to comfort people. And he put people focused on his mind. And during his speech, he made a lot of presentation of India's achievement, but I heard also most of the time when he talked about products, initiatives, he talked about poor people. Those people, the people is very important for him and for his administration. I think that this is great. So this is the first comment to this minister. I also have comment for Ursula, my dear friend from Ghana. And she told us she started her job only 11 months ago. But I can see that she worked very hard everywhere, tried to promote ICT development in Ghana, in Africa, and also tried to forge a partnership with everybody who would like to help Africa, help Ghana. I have proofs that I met her several times recently. The first time was at the ITU Telecom Busan, Telecom 2017 in Busan in September. And she went there to join ITU activity support ICT SMEs and industries. And she also looked for partnership with Korea, with others. And then in October, mid of October, ITU organized another meeting in Buenos Aires. That is the World Telecom Development Conference. This is the highest conference of development in ITU. Every 4 years we had that one. And she joined us in Buenos Aires and expressed her opinions and also shared her experiences with us and give us visions what Ghana wished to see. And you know that this conference is very important. This is the first ITU World Conference on Development after SDG agreed in 2015 in New York. And last week, I told her, I also travel a lot. Last week, Wednesday, I was in Bangkok to attend another meeting. You know, as Secretary General, I have no choice sometimes, although it is part of my responsibilities. But I believe ministers should enjoy life better than Secretary General. They have some choices. But she told me last week she was not in Ghana, she was in China. I said, what do you do in China? Said, looking for some partnership to introduce some industry to Ghana to make something happen in Ghana in the future that made in Ghana. So that is another one. And today, you know, I know that she will join me for this panel, and I mentioned that yesterday with the Minister of Singha. I said, I have not seen my sister from Ghana yet. And until this morning, I tried to see her. I did not see her. Then she just showed up 15 minutes before we started our meeting, our session. And she told me she just came directly from airport to this session. I had experiences like that. I know how nervous I was, but anyhow, and she come very late, and of course she has some others. So I think that the Africa ministers very eagerly to work on the ICT to transform Africa, and I see that kind of a good example. I think that another colleague, my brother, you know, Palat, minister from Bangladesh, he's campaigning to support IT startups, SMEs. And he was so keen to support his fellow startups that from very beginning, 2015, when I started my job as Secretary General, he pushed me to go to Bangladesh to join his conference to support young people, young startups working with ICT to develop the local solution, local application to connect the local community with the power of ICT, particularly mobile and internet. And last year, he took me again to Bangladesh to open the first national ICT incubator center. That I was also very pleased that the minister, you know, very much like to support their young people to work on ICT to transform the society. I think that time is very short. I better not to read my text. Let me just continue with this kind of comments. That this morning we got a very good message from our Prime Minister. And I particularly noted one of his messages that new technologies break the silo systems. I think that that message is a very, very strong message. Today, you know, none of us can go along our traditional way to work, and we have to work together. And the Prime Minister also highlighted the importance to work together. And the Prime Minister also offered his opinion that we have to work together. We have to not only within the government, you know, everybody have to work together to use the ICT to transform India, but also to look for good cooperations, partnerships with the world, the rest of the world. And I was very pleased to have a chance to talk to him after the opening ceremony. And I found that he is also keen to work with global families to benefit from the experiences we learned from India development and benefit from India innovations. I think that our minister just mentioned one of the marvelous achievements that the 1.3 billion of Indians, almost 97% got the digital identifiers. That I think that he's very proud of, and I think the Prime Minister also proud. And indeed, India should be proud of this initiative. And I think that indeed it's a great initiative. I heard also that the India government, Prime Minister, and the industry would like to share this kind of successful stories with other continents. for example, Africa. So I expressed my wish to work with India to extend the power of India innovations to the other part of the world to benefit from their good experiences. And India has a marvelous source of innovations that I visited India first time in 1999. And the last time when we had our WTDC in Hyderabad, I met with a young India expert, and he showed me his mobile phones. And mobile phone looks the same as any other mobile phone. But the way he worked, that impressed me a lot. And he told me that he can use one finger to type any text, SMS, on his phone. So I said, can you please show me? So he did that. One finger, one button to type the full text. I said, it's marvelous. Why don't you come to ITU to put this as a new technology for signers so that we all can benefit from you? And he promised, but unfortunately, I did not see him afterwards. So that is one of my message I came to India this time, that I would like to encourage our India experts to be more active in those kind of areas, for example, new technology development, that to bring their concept, bring their innovations to contribute to the global development of new technologies. In my opinion, IT is very successful with international telecommunication technology standardizations from very beginning, from 1865 up to now. And IT is very proud with this kind of tradition. But if you look at the history, we will find that this process is a good result of good partnership between government, administrations, and private sector and the companies. Without companies, without private sector, we cannot do anything. But nowadays, situation is somewhat different from 10 years ago. That new technologies may not necessarily come from big companies only. And the small, medium-sized entrepreneurs can give us a lot of fantastic ideas and new solutions. Perhaps they can also contribute to the world development of technologies. I can tell you that Secretary General of United Nations put new technologies as very important for UN reform. And we spent 1 day, altogether we only have 1.5 days, at the beginning of November in New York. And the Secretary General of the United Nations invited all of head of agencies together to talk about the reform. And in his agenda, on his list of the agenda, he put the new frontier ideas, technologies, high and very high. And he also gave us a message that in his opinion, ICT is a very powerful tool for each and every SDGs. So it's a very, very strong message that we are very encouraged, inspired by his guidance. But also we fully realize that this is a challenge to us. We have to work differently. We have to consider these messages as strong guidance for our next work in the next years to come. And I'm very pleased to see that this is not only from our Secretary General of the United Nations, and everywhere in the world, in Africa, in Arabic, in Asia, even, that very advanced places like Europe. And I found that many head of states, head of governments consider ICT is absolutely important for the country's future. So I'd like to work with industries to use ICT to transform their countries. So I'm very pleased with this new development. And ladies and gentlemen, I don't think that I should read my text anymore because and many messages could be already shared with our ministers, and we still have Minister of Bangladesh to take a floor. So I'd like to stop here. But once more again, I would like to express my sincere thanks to our India host to invite me to come here and to have this wonderful opportunity to have a good understanding of India's today and for India's future. And I look forward to good cooperation with India to use ICT as a powerful tools to transform the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. May I now request Honorable Mr. Junaid Ahmed Palak, Honorable Minister of State, Bangladesh, to kindly address the gathering on this occasion.
Thank you very much for having me here. I was thinking, why nowadays claps so less? Can you just tell me, anyone, why claps are so less nowadays? Because of digital devices. So how many of you have the smartphones? Can you raise your hand? Okay, many of you have raised 2 of your hands because you have more than one, right? And that is why you can actually give a round of applause with your one hand because you are busy with your smartphones. So thank you very much for having me here. I would like to give my heartiest thanks to the organizers of GCCS, honorable ministers, honorable General Secretary of ITU, dignitaries, friends from media. Good afternoon to you all. So first of all, I just wanted to draw your attention some of the challenges. Bridging the digital divide, empowering by technology-led inclusiveness. So whenever we actually look into this issue, so what we found? We found 4 challenges for achieving this target. The lack of digital infrastructure and services, the lack of affordable network services, devices, and applications. More importantly, the lack of digital skills to create or add value. Most importantly, the lack of coordinated efforts to foster social and economical equality. Ladies and gentlemen, in Bangladesh, in 2008, our Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina envisioned to build digital Bangladesh by 2021. After her declaration, we got elected, and from 2009, we have started this journey towards digital Bangladesh. Digital Bangladesh is not only a development agenda, it's a philosophy of revolution. And also, we always try to consider our inclusive growth and development in the digital economy. After declaration of digital Bangladesh, Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, she instructed us to prepare an ICT policy. And under the ICT policy, to achieve the digital Bangladesh vision to be fulfilled, we have identified 4 pillars to build digital Bangladesh. ICT division works with 4 broad areas to achieve the targets set by Digital Bangladesh agenda by Honorable Prime Minister. E-governance, human resource development, establishing digital connectivity, and ICT industry promotion. So you'll be very surprised to know that just 9 years back in Bangladesh, there was only less than 1 million internet subscribers. But over the last 9 years, by reducing the cost of the internet from $900 per Mbps into less than $10 in last 9 years. We have been able to reduce the cost of the expand our broadband connectivity up to the village level. We have successfully completed 3 of our projects. Under those projects, we have connected all of our government offices with a single internet network, which is called Bangla GovNet. In the second phase, we have successfully completed InfoSoccer 2. By that project, we have been able to connect all of our sub-district, and we are implementing our third phase, which is called InfoSoccer 3. Under this project, we'll be able to connect all of our union digital centers, which is the lowest tier of our local government, by 2018. And we have a specific target to reach 100% internet penetration in Bangladesh by 2021. And we would like to reach 50% broadband penetration rate by 2021. 9 years back, there were nothing digital services for the citizen. By the leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister, under the prudent leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, we have set up more than 5,000 union digital centers. From those union digital centers, we have been able to provide 200 types of government services to the villagers. Every month, more than 6 million villagers are getting 200 types of services from those digital centers. It has actually reduced the cost of getting services. It has reduced corruption, and also it has saved time of the citizens. If you look back, in 2008, our ICT export was merely $26 million. From that small amount of export from ICT sector, we have been able to increase into $800 million ICT export by only last 8.5 years. And we have a specific target to reach $5 billion ICT export by 2021 from hardware, software, services, and R&D sector. You all know Bangladesh is a very young country. 70% of our total population who are below 35, and we would like to utilize them for developing digital economy. We have several projects to provide the training for our young students. In 170,000 educational institutions, we have more than 40 million students. We have made ICT as mandatory subject from class 6 to 12. And we are providing IT freelancing training for our youth. We have successfully completed 13,000 trainings. And out of these 13,000 trainings, 10,000 IT freelancers, they're earning on the online marketplaces. And we have a target to create 2 million sector job in ICT sector by 2021. For achieving that target, we are building 28 IT parks across the country. And also, we are really grateful to the government of India because we are also working to build 12 IT parks with the collaboration of Indian Exim Bank. And also, last of all, I would like to give some examples how we are trying to include our women and persons who are disabled or special kids. We have set up more than 6,000 computer labs at school levels. And also, we have introduced a new project that is Sustainable Development for Women through ICT. Under that project, we are providing training and we are offering internship for 10,000 women. We have been able to set up electronic shops for women at district and sub-district level, where all the e-commerce entrepreneurs are coming to buy and sell their goods sitting at their home. So with this, I would like to invite all of you to come and explore Bangladesh. We are organizing Digital World, one of the largest ICT summit in South Asia. It will be held from 6 December to 9 December. Our Honorable Prime Minister, Sheikh Hasina, she will inaugurate that ICT summit in Bangladesh. So, I'm inviting you to come and visit Bangladesh and explore the opportunities. And definitely, I hope we'll be able to achieve the 100% internet connectivity for all the citizens of Bangladesh. And also, we would like to secure all this cyberspace. And that is why we are planning to set up our National Cyber Security Agency. We have been able to set up our Digital Literacy Center. We are trying to aware our people how they can use productive use of internet and how they can get benefit from this cyberspace. So thank you very much. I wish this initiative will be more successful if we continue this dialogue, not only physically, but also we'll continue this dialogue in the virtual world. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. And as a token of our immense respect, we want to present mementos to our guest speakers, honorable dignitaries on the desk. May I request Dr. Ajay Kumar, Additional Secretary in the Ministry, to please come up onto the stage and present a memento to the Honorable Minister of State, Electronics and IT and Tourism, Government of India, Shri K.J. Alphonse. Mrs. Geeta Katpalia is now requested to please come up onto the dais and present a memento to Honorable Ms. Ursula Ekupul from Ghana. JS, Joint Secretary in the Ministry, Shri Gopala Krishnan. I request you to please come up onto the dais and present a memento to respected Mr. Halun Zhao. Now, I would like to invite Shri IPS Sethi, Senior Technical Director NIC, to please come up onto the stage and present a memento to Honorable Mr. Junaid Ahmed Palak. Thank you, honorable dignitaries on the dais, Honorable Minister of State, Electronics and IT, Mr. K.J. Alphonse. Thank you so much for gracing the occasion. All the dignitaries on the dais, thank you so much. And we just want to inform one information that we will be presenting a cultural pageant before you at 6:30. So we will take you to a journey of Indian original and classical dances at 6:30 p.m. And this journey will, of course, mesmerize you and leave you spellbound with its magic. And this will be performed by the young artists from Orissa and Bangalore. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow at 9:15. But today we have to attend the cultural event. So thank you so much. Namaskar. My name is Manisha Dubey. Meet you tomorrow again. Thank you. Namaskar. I already announced. The cultural program will be at 6:30 p.m., maybe 1 hour from now. Thank you so much.